separately, and we'll send you a picture, and I'll say, we'll check this connection or something like that. So there's connections on the back of the real-time controller. Safety valves we already talked about. These are metering valves that are already preset. Back switches, coming up on this side. This is the heater power lines coming in to your substrate heater. This is the thermocouple. This is not used. This is the bottom of your substrate heater. So, whenever it comes time to do maintenance, when you remove the substrate heater, you have a rolling clamp here. It clamps around this tube, and you have a gland that's right here and an O-ring. That's what prevents, that allows the vacuum seal between atmosphere and the chamber, because the O-ring is compressed here. And those two will enable the heater to go straight up and out. You just unplug the power and unplug the thermocouple. And the rest of it's just cleaning with water and those tabs. The cleaning kits,
You have to unlock that to clean it.
you have to, yeah, you unhook
Right, there
this.
is a
Yeah,
voltage up and down and stuff.
yeah, that clamp will slide down, and then this is a gland. There's 4 screws that are hidden,
Right, oh,
and an O-ring is up underneath here.
right.
I have pictures and a description, but this is where you'll be breaking it. And then the heater will come straight up. All these heaters, they have their own power supply, and they have the thermocouples that are connected. So you have a power, and you always have thermocouples. Some heaters have their daisy chained into another heater, like these. You have one heater, and then it's tied into the other heaters. So
So we said these are thermocouples.
yeah, so
There will be sensor and there will be display for this.
yeah, yeah. So the thermocouples will come back and will feed into here, and you'll see it
Last
up
time you have seen
there.
that jacket inside there. The jacket, heater jacket.
Yeah.
There is a like extension cable. So in case if you want to use that for zirconium or whatever,
Mhm.
so those plugs will be plugged in where?
Those will be brought back here.
Oh, they reach here?
They should. If not, I can send you some extensions.
Ah,
Is
I
these-
think they reach.
I have extensions of these.
Let me see that. This one 100 here?
Yeah. Well, the power supply is over there.
Right.
These will need an extension.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's no problem. I might have extensions with me.
Otherwise it will come here. This two are for this one. That's right.
Both. One is control. Well, actually, because of the power point, these will get tied up. You'll use these two.
Okay.
Okay. These two would make their way over to here. So I'll explain that a little bit towards the end of the day, of which channels are which. The extension should have already been put there. I don't think they were put there. But we can actually plug it in and run one. So we'll actually do that
So
later
this
on.
will be helpful to get the real time temperature and whatever.
Yeah, we'll actually, whenever we swap, what we could do is whenever we swap out this water ampule and put your water ampule on, we'll take this, because this is actually how we'll recommend putting the thermocouples on the hafnium or zirconium. We'll take this ampule, we'll put it in that heater jacket, and we'll plug everything up. On the front side here,
Mr. Kabir,
most of the time this will be closed. But, just so you're aware, this is a AC power panel. or PDU, power distribution unit. So this is your AC power here. Most of it, you won't have to get in there for anything. But just so you're aware of it being there. The power connectors are down here. You don't have an issue with that. Sometimes they become this large in shipping, but you shouldn't have to touch any of that. These are contacts to drive your heater. This is for your substrate heater. PLC, safety control unit, and power supply. You won't have to get in here for anything unless we're doing troubleshooting.
Like last time.
Yeah, like last night. But, you know, once those
Sometimes,
problems
once in a
resolve,
while,
it's fine.
this can happen, yeah.
Now I'll owe you.
Yeah.
I owe you 2 fuses,
Yeah.
which will be for here. These fuses, that fuse can be taken out and be put in here. That's,
But there is 2 fuses here, right? You put only 1 or 2?
I put only one
Oh, okay.
because it's not exactly the. It's close to the right fuse, but it's not what. They're both 5 amp fuses, but I think these are slow blows instead of fast. So I'll get you what was in here from the factory.
So we need to put 2 inside.
Yeah, so you'll put the 2 in there.
Right.
This will just flip out, and you seen how we pulled them out yesterday. And then, if you want to take this door off, it'll pop right off. And then you can snap it in and then pivot it back to close. Then the fuse that's in here, and the VFU, can be put back into here. And you can take the tape off. The tape is just to identify which one. This relay is not being used. You don't have a heater channel.
So only this relays out in use so far?
Only the ones that you're seeing lit up. So you got a lot of spares. That's the reason why I stole it out of here, because it was the same rating. You might get into, somebody might say check the LEDs on here for troubleshooting, but just be aware that there's LEDs on here. The fans are here just to keep the relays cool. On this side, you've seen what happened yesterday with the compressor,
Yeah.
which we didn't talk about. So if you shut the compressor off, you're going to have to turn it on in that procedure at some point. All your power coming out of your relays are here, your connectors. They are
Coming in or coming out?
Huh?
Coming in or coming out?
This comes out, power
Oh.
comes out.
Alright.
So you have 208 volts.
Alright.
Between 202, 208 volts coming out of all these. The heaters always have some sort of voltage or current driven. So whenever you're driving the temperature, you're actually driving the current out. These are bricks, what is termed as bricks for power. Just be aware that on some of them, like if we're calling for a valve to be open, the communication comes through the cable, and you'll have an LED on. Troubleshooting might say, well, check the LED on here or on here. Other than that, you don't have to worry about it, just be aware of it.
Right.
This valve down here has a cap, the atmosphere. This is if you were using a helium leak detector. This is where you connect it up to.
Helium.
Leak detectors use helium.
Oh, the one we said yesterday.
Yeah.
Check the atmosphere.
We're checking for vacuum leaks.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have that, so I'm not going to talk any more about it. That's just where you would connect it. This is the MFCs for your argon flow.
What is that? What is that? I'm sorry.
This is the MFCs for your argon flow and your nitrogen. This is what controls how many skims are coming into the system for flow. So This is where this is controlled. This is your isolation valves for those. You have solenoids and you have the valves themselves. The regulator is down here and your pressure switch is kind of tucked away here. And it's set at 65 PSI. So you need 65 PSI coming into here.
If not,
Then
We'll
you
give it
have,
an interlock.
like yesterday, whenever everything shut down,
The middle one is,
you won't be able to set your safety valve. Now this has a little gauge on it for you to set your pressure.
This side, right?
We usually
This
prefer to
side
have this
is 3A,
at
and I think
80
this is
PSI.
3D. You're talking about the
Now,
chromium?
I'm talking about this cylinder.
on
Yeah.
these solenoid
I
valves,
think this is
you
3D.
also have them on the ALD valve. I would recommend to get one or two of these solenoid valves for a spare. Because sometimes they become a little bit finicky.
you have specification for that? Specification for the solenoid valve?
We have part numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not, I think they're like, don't quote me, but I think they're about 80 bucks or 75